This family decided to clean up their father's garage when they came together for the summer. Upon opening it, they were astonished to discover not just a few trips down memory lane, but also a 50-year accumulation of rubbish. Welcome to USA Stories channel. Do not forget to subscribe and activate the bell button to receive all new updates. Now let's go to the story. Sitting on his porch, Grant Carver took a long pull on his drink. His thoughts drifted back into the past, as they often did these days. It had been 30 years since he was alone. Grant had never remarried since his wife passed away while their daughter Karen was just 7 years old. Prior to his retirement, he worked as an airline pilot and was so engrossed in his job that he had never had time to realize how lonely he was. He was continually traveling to or from another nation, and he knew people everywhere. However, it was beginning to bother him now. He missed having a companion in the house, someone to greet him in the morning and spend the evenings cuddling with. Above all, he missed having private conversations with someone, the kind of conversations that only lovers or married couples can have. He was missing someone who was privy to practically all of his secrets. Grant never even told his wife while she was still living, but he did have one secret that only he knew. It all started with a week-long R&R spent during the Vietnam War in Pattaya Beach in Thailand. He had been away for a week away from the violent jungles of Vietnam. He arrived in a location where he encountered someone who fundamentally altered his inner landscape. However, he was unable to ever disclose this individual to anyone. Even after all these years, keeping the secret felt like a lump of hot coal within his gut, a fire that would never go out. However, he also realized that he would never be able to let go of it. The notion of it still caused a peculiar stirring in him. Grant undertook several perilous trips to rescue injured American soldiers in the harsh Vietnamese jungle. There was an aura of special protection around him for those who flew with him. His presence was comforting, and everyone felt that he would survive. A little smile twitched across Grant's lips' corners. Back then, he was just fearless. The lads were aware that if they rode with him, he would return. Grant felt unbeatable, even under enemy fire and with their chopper full of injured. The chopper was struck by gunfire, but he was uninjured. A bullet had once passed through his helmet and, amazingly, missed his skull. During his 1969-1970 deployment, Grant and his Huey crew are credited with saving the lives of approximately 2,000 American wounded. That made him proud. They were referred to as the Dust-Off Crew, and they lived up to their motto: unwavering, committed dedication to our armed troops. The tales from back then, when he eventually returned to the United States and started flying commercial aircraft, made for some great chats at the grill. However, the conflict persisted within him. There were sights, sounds, and scents that he had come to terms with the fact would never leave him, even after all these years. The secret was there after that. It would be with him till they lowered him into a grave, just like one of those memories. He hoped that wasn't true. Grant looked at the time as he made his way to the kitchen to get another drink. In the next half an hour, the youngsters ought to arrive. That was excellent. Their presence would temporarily ward off the loneliness. Though he was already looking forward to their return to Boston, he was also looking forward to it. In the back seat, Mike and Andy were making fun of their older sister. Letitia, who was heading off to college in the autumn, was 4 years older than the twins. She left them alone, taking in the beauty of rural Virginia while gazing out the window at the passing farms and woodlands. Up front, Carl and Karen were having a far more serious talk while ignoring the children. "Really, love, if you think you're going to get my father into an old-age home, you have another thing coming," Karen said. "He won't leave," Carl objected. "He is by himself. He even states as much. If we can find him a good home, at least he will have company." "There will be company for him." Karen angrily shook her head. "My father is someone I know. Seeing his army comrades twice a week makes him happy." Yes, he is lonely, but he has to take action to address this. He would be furious if we meddled. Make me a promise not to tell anything. It will simply spoil the vacation." With his hands clasped over his hips, Grant remained still on the porch, observing the rental car as it slowly navigated the lengthy driveway. He couldn't help but smile. He was devoted to his daughter, not all of his son-in-law's faults. His granddaughter was the pride of his life, and the twins were always a lot of fun. He wanted nothing more in the world right now than to hold them all in his arms and give them the death grip. Greetings were a drawn-out process. He gave Karen a hug for so long that she feared he would never let go. He and his son-in-law shook hands after that. Letitia moved aside, allowing the twins to enter first. They too lingered briefly in their grandfather's embrace. Subsequently, he met Letitia's gaze, and she met his. There was a unique relationship between them. "You remind me of your grandmother, Pumpkin," he stated. She whispered quietly in his ear, "Grandpa, you always say that," as she leaped into his arms. "I wish we could have been acquainted." That evening after supper, the children began to tell Grant about their ideas for his garage. While they were here, they made the decision to organize and repack his garage and made the decision to not accept no for an answer. Grant was going to object. Only God is aware of what they may discover within that. It felt like 10 years since he'd even opened the door. There was his entire past, most likely partially consumed by rats by now. He then turned to face the children, though. The twins' youthful joy was visible to him. For them, this was a dusty, gloomy spot where young boys could let their imaginations run wild. Letty had more tender, loving eyes. She desired to treat him to something exceptional. Grant only nodded after a lengthy moment of quiet, not wanting to take away their delight. When he said, "I'll help you if you want," the children would not accept it. This was going to be their journey, and only theirs. Just after midnight that night, Grant sprung upright in his bed, his trade secret. He was unsure if there was anything in the garage that may lead the children to the one item he had spent so much time keeping concealed from the public. He searched his thoughts in an attempt to recall what was in the garage, but he was unable to. Finally, he tired out and went back to sleep. The children had left for work when Grant arrived for breakfast. The lads had begun to move some of the boxes obstructing the driveway's access outdoors, and the garage door was ajar. Pushing a cup of coffee into his hand, Karen dialed the children. While he observed, the mild worry from the early hours of the morning reappeared as they fiddled around in the garage. He searched again, trying to find anything that would reveal what he had managed to hide so well, but just like the night before, he came up empty. The first person to leave the breakfast table was Letitia. She took a step back and assessed the situation at the garage. She was a lady and older than the lads. That implied that she would follow a set of rules. She didn't think the twins would measure up. She was aware that they would provide some assistance, become distracted by whatever they discovered, become bored with it, and then provide some more assistance. She was devoid of issue with that. In addition to having a great day, they would be doing something unique for Grandpa. Just before noon, the twins discovered the first major discovery. They discovered a bulky radio, a helmet, a rusty dagger, and 2 filthy satchels inside a metal trunk. There was an ancient tin behind it all. When they opened it, they found fading pictures inside along with faded markings on it. "Gimme," Letitia murmured, grabbing it out of Andy's grasp. She was taller than him, so he kept trying to take it from her until he gave up. "Now, let's all sit down together and look at these," she stated. The majority of the photos showed a much younger Grandpa with a number of additional troops near Army helicopters. The children were unaware of the location, identity, and significance of the persons in the pictures. The twins displayed their discovery at the lunch table. The radio, knife, and helmet are placed on the server. Letitia folded the photos in her hand. "What are these, Grandpa?" Posed by Andy. Grant glanced at Karen, asking whether it was all right to talk about the war. She said nothing, just nodded. He then told the 3 children the most daring story they had ever heard while they were eating lunch. The stories had heroes, villains, battles, comebacks, heartache, and tears. Grandpa had been a part of each one, and they were all better than any story they had ever watched on television. Of these stories, the 3 grandkids of Grant were astonished beyond belief. However, during this entire time, freezing fingers gripped Grant's back. The kids would undoubtedly discover whatever memento he had kept in the garage that had anything to do with his secret, because he had forgotten about it all. They did, an hour after lunch. Letitia discovered the little tin first. It resembled what they'd seen in one of the pictures. Together, they created the most amazing existence. I truly adored your grandma, you know, even though I realize that may sound weird to you." Just then, something began to develop in the back of Letitia's thoughts. It grew, forced its way through the subconscious's soil and into her consciousness, where it developed into a plan. Letitia missed breakfast and complained of having a headache the next morning. She was really upstairs, talking on the phone in her bedroom. She was staring at her laptop with its lid open, trying very hard to focus. Karen became worried at dinner time as she had skipped lunch as well. Letitia told her when she knocked that she was okay and only needed a little rest. The following day, she repeated the arrangement. She entered the living room shortly after lunch, glowing with victory. Her words, "I'm expecting a guest tomorrow," were delivered without fanfare. With butterflies in her stomach, Letitia watched as the automobile wandered up the driveway at approximately 10 in the morning. She was unable to obtain a clear view of the person driving because of the window tinting. Beside her was her granddad. He had allowed her to remain clandestine. When she was ready, she would raise her hand and he would not press her. But all the color vanished from his face when the stranger pulled to a halt and got out of the car. What he was witnessing was beyond belief. Grant was so stunned that he was immobile or talk. A stunning woman of similar age approached the porch and ascended the stairs. She turned to Grant after placing a hand on Letitia's face. "Hello, Grant," she extended her hands in greeting. With a tense voice, he replied, "Hello, Eleanor," taking her hands in his. "How's that for a happy ending? Have you ever reconnected with someone you hadn't seen in a long time? Leave a comment with your tale. We'd be interested in hearing it, but that's it from us for now. I appreciate you seeing. We'll see you in the upcoming video. Please remember to subscribe to our channel, give us a thumbs up, and turn on the notification bell so you won't miss any of our videos. If you enjoyed the tale, the next video that plays on your screen will probably move you too.